In today's video, I'm going to break down the best tips and tricks to absolutely dominate the Gundam Team Deathmatch mode in COD Mobile. If you've been struggling to pick the right Gundam or your gameplay feels clunky, this is the guide you didn't know you needed. Trust me, after this, your Gundam is going to feel straight up broken. Let's start with the foundation of any good match. Choosing the right Gundam. You need to understand before jumping into any match is that every Gundam is built differently. Some are specialists in long-range combat, while others shine in close-quarter melee fights. One might give you insane melee power, while another comes with tanky durability stats that let you survive longer in drawn-out fights. So if you're confused about which Gundam suits you best, head over to the Gundam Gallery section in-game. That's where you'll find all the info, from their basic profiles to their signature abilities. If you're someone who loves pure melee chaos, go with Gundam Epion. This one's a beast up close. But yeah, don't expect much in long-range situations. If you're into picking off enemies from a distance and want fluid mobility, then Freedom Gundam is definitely the way to go. And if you're asking me, what's the most balanced and probably the safest pick overall? Justice Gundam. But again, it all depends on your style, so try them out and stick with the one that feels right for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Alright, but how do I unlock more Gundams? Good question. It all comes down to leveling up your Gundam pass. I covered this in depth in my previous video, so if you missed that, you're missing a huge part of the puzzle. Go watch it. Now here comes one of the most overlooked but game-changing tips. Switch your HUD layout. I know a lot of you are still using the default settings, but let's be honest, there's no reason to stick to the stock setup when you can fully customize it to match your muscle memory and play style. CODM actually added a whole new tab just for this mode, so if you've been ignoring it, now's the time to wake up. First, head over to settings and look for the new Gundam TDM tab. This is your sandbox. This is where you tweak everything, from HUD layout to sensitivity, without messing up your normal multiplayer settings. If you're confused about sensitivity or need my exact settings, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to drop a video just for that. But for now, let's break down the HUD. Once you're in the Gundam TDM tab, tap on Controls, then hit Custom Layout and click Go. Here's what you're going to see and what you need to do. The first and most important button is your primary shoot button. Place this somewhere easy to tap during fast-paced fights. Right next to it or within comfortable reach, you've got your melee button, or call it a sword button, whatever suits you. If you're in tight quarters or just want to finish someone off with style, melee is your best friend. Always be ready to switch to that. Next up, we've got your Gundam's abilities. You'll see 3 of them and they're all equally important. I personally play with 5 fingers, so I place one ability button on the right side of my screen and the other 2 on the left. This way I can activate any of them instantly without lifting my thumb off movement or aim. Even if you're a 2 or 3 finger player, experiment with placements until it feels smooth. These abilities have the potential to change fights, so don't bury them in a corner of your screen where you'll forget about them. Now, let's talk movement buttons. You'll notice there are 2 movement related buttons specifically for Gundam mobility. These are like your jump or crouch in standard multiplayer but tuned for mech movement. You need to place them just like your usual buttons, close to your thumb range so you can strafe, jump or dash at will. Mobility in this mode is everything, especially since enemies can fly, boost and charge. If your fingers aren't ready, you're getting stomped, literally. In the center, you'll see the lock-on menu. This is a unique mechanic to Gundam mode that helps you auto-track enemies once they're in sight. You can leave it in the default position, but I suggest tweaking the size depending on your screen. If it feels hard to use or you're missing lock-ons, make it larger. If it's getting in the way of your vision, shrink it down. It's all about finding your sweet spot. Once your HUD layout feels comfy and natural, don't forget to adjust your graphics settings. Gundam TDM is a bit more demanding than regular modes, and if your device starts lagging in the middle of a 1 versus 1 in space, you're toast. I recommend dropping the graphics to low just for this mode so the frame rate stays buttery smooth. Trust me, performance overlooks. Finally, if you want to play with your sensitivity, you can experiment, but I personally stick to my default MP sensitivity since it keeps my muscle memory consistent. One of the most underrated yet insanely effective ways to win in Gundam TDM is simply this: teamwork. CODM might be a shooter, but Gundam mode adds an extra layer of strategy where communication becomes a game changer. So my suggestion, either squad up with your friends or if you're going solo, turn on voice chat. Even a little back and forth like one on the left, focus the guy on top or push now can completely change the tide of a fight. Gundam fights are chaotic, and if your team is just floating around like lost balloons, you're not gonna get far. Play together, call out enemies and focus fire on one target at a time. That's how you melt opponents and win rounds. Now let's talk about movement, which is even more important in Gundam mode than in regular MP. The first thing you need to add to your muscle memory is jumping, constantly. I know it sounds like something a noob would do, but in Gundam mode, jumping makes it insanely hard for enemies to lock their aim onto you. The Gundams are huge and the tracking is more forgiving when you're grounded, but if you're bouncing around midair like some hyper jet powered mosquito, it throws them off completely. Don't stay still ever, but jumping alone isn't enough, you also need to dodge like a pro. That's where the dash and up thrust movement buttons come in. If you haven't figured out how to use these two in sync yet, you're missing out. When someone locks onto you or you hear that terrifying charging sound, don't panic. Hit dash sideways, then immediately use the up thrust to break line of sight. You'll be shocked at how many duels you can escape just by mastering this escape combo. Now here comes a big mistake I see way too many players making, and maybe you're guilty of it too. You get excited, rush the enemy and try to land that satisfying sword kill. But what ends up happening? You swing around like a madman and your squad ends up clumped together in one spot, not chasing or rotating, just standing like fish waiting to be harpooned. Look, the sword is cool and it's tempting, I get it. But if you're all standing in the same area, you're basically a flashing red marker for enemy ultimates. You become a free multi-kill opportunity. That's not fun. Instead, rotate with awareness. Don't just chase blindly, coordinate with teammates, flank, distract, and always think. Another crucial tip that could literally be the difference between winning and losing is understanding how lives work in Gundam TDM. Unlike standard multiplayer modes where you respawn infinitely and get your way into gunfights, here you only get 3 lives per player, which totals to 12 lives for your entire team. That's it. Once those are gone, it's game over. So every life matters. This is not the mode to play like it's shipment 24/7. Don't push blindly into 1 versus 3s just because you're hyped. You're not just throwing your own life, you're draining your team's collective chances of winning. Now here's a smart move that most people forget. If your health is low, don't go looking for glory. Health doesn't regenerate in Gundam mode and there are no healing abilities or miracle medkits. If you're on the verge of being turned into space crab, fall back to your spawn or safe zones and play smart. Use that time to take long range fights, support from behind, or even pull off cheeky third party attacks. If your teammates are fighting, don't sit idle. Provide cover fire, distract, or even block enemy routes. Support roles are underrated but make a huge difference. Now here's a subtle mechanic that most players overlook. When you get hit by any weapon in Gundam mode, your movement gets disabled for a short second and it changes everything. So if you get hit once and just stand there trying to tank the next shot, guess what? You're a sitting duck. The smart move is this. As soon as you're hit and regain control, dash out. Don't wait, don't think, just boost out of there like your life depends on it. Because it does. Most opponents will go for the second shot instantly. So breaking line of sight is your only real escape. And let's talk attack strategy. You're not just running around a big empty field. The Gundam map is built with cover in mind, and if you're not using it, you're throwing. Learn the wall placements, those low barriers, and use them like your personal armor. Shoot, move into cover, peek, shoot again. That rhythm is key. Stick to this mindset and I promise you'll start dominating matches like a pro. Now let's put all these tips together into a deadly combination play that can seriously turn the tide of the match. Out of all the Gundams available, Freedom Gundam easily stands out as one of the best choices, especially if you like to stay active, mobile, and make clutch plays. Why? Because Freedom's biggest strength lies in its ability to shoot while moving, giving you the upper hand in both chasing and escaping situations. This makes you incredibly hard to hit and lets you control the pace of the fight. That's all for this video. Those were my best tips to help you dominate Gundam TDM and make your mecha truly shine on the mode. If you have any secret tricks or strats of your own, drop them in the comments. I'll be reading them all. And as always, if you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next upload.